Hello, my name is Anna and I'm a broker of the Legion Real Estate Agency. It's one of the biggest agency in Bali, and we work with a lot of developers here in Bali. And today we meet with one of our partner. It's a Bali Bliss Property and Evan. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Can
to
you
meet you.
please introduce your company and
Sure. So my name is Evan. I'm the owner and director of Bali Bliss Properties, and we are operating formally and incorporated in Bali the last 3 years. We have delivered around 6 projects, more than 27 units, 15 more about to deliver. And we're here because we want to share our experience with the real estate world in Bali, some of the things that are happening in the background. We're all about being, upfront and transparent to clients, and I really appreciate that you guys are interested in this topic as well and educate your clients. And yeah, just want to shed some light in some of the things that are happening in real estate in Bali.
so a lot of people think that the building in Bali it's very easy. What do you think? What about your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I used to be one of them. That's why I came here. It is affordable relatively to build in Bali, and initially, on paper, it seems easy. Well, I mean, obviously, Bali is a beautiful place. It's quite affordable for most Westerners, let's say. And you come here, there's always some Mr. Wayan or Mr. Ketu that you're gonna meet, that he was your fixer in your tourist vacation. And then they will say, I have a land for you. I have also a very good friend will give you cheap price to build and stuff. Then that's how they, that's how the journey starts of those who thinking about building here. So it looks easy. The reality is that you can start the process very easily, easy to, bring funds here, make some, initiate permits, find the companies, but it's not easy at all to complete the building. That's the problem. So usually the budget goes many times over what you thought, exactly because it's easy and fast. There's no real vetting process from the government to really, see that all parties can do their job. There's a lot of risks involved that at the end of the day make it not so easy to finish. One of the reasons is communication, cultural differences. For example, the expectations a Westerner might have on what good looks like is very different than the local contractor. And unless you do this as a full time, it's very difficult to finish your villa on budget or on time. In my case, that's exactly what I did. I was living here, had different job before. By the way, I'm an engineer by education, but I used to work on the business world. So consulting C-suite of 500 S&P 500 companies, so large companies in the strategy compartment. So I really wanted to, do something different at some point. So I thought of, okay, if I bring my engineering experience and my business thinking and my business education, I can be successful here. And I think I am, but it took a full-time job. I had to really give up the other jobs and be super focused here to make sure that I can finish a villa and deliver it. And after I did this, I learned so many things, and that's why I decided to make it to open a business, a company here.
I see. And one more thing that people think that it's cheap actually here to build.
Yeah, I mean, initially it looks like cheap, but I guess because you don't know all the steps of the process, it becomes unrealistically expensive. Yeah, so you either have to pay someone to supervise those who build for you and then pay someone else to supervise these two, and then it's not cheap anymore. Or you start with a cheap budget and then you have to redo a lot of things, or lose a couple of more years until you finish it. So yeah, initially it looks cheap, but it's not.
Tell me more about the legal process. I mean, about all of this
Yeah.
bureaucracy here.
This is one of the trickiest parts because compared to other countries, compared to countries where buyers come from, so from Europe, US, Australia, things are a little bit more of a gray area here. It's not 100% right or 100% wrong, and you don't know what to believe really, because a lot of the people here, I mean the local experts sometimes don't know what to really recommend. And this makes it a little bit hard. There's a lot of tolerance of not doing things exactly the right way, but that's also not right. So it is quite tricky to figure it out. You need to really get to know the right people here, because everyone has good intentions to help you with legal advice, but not always it's correct.
What about the permit situation with your project here?
Yeah, so permits fall to the category I told you that are a little bit of a gray area, depending on whom you ask. Uh, a lot of projects and a lot of developers here use one kind of permit, some others use different. We try to do everything by the book, so and that's so hard sometimes. I'll give you an example. So the project we are started building now, Ocean Bliss, it's a big apartment building, and we wanted to do it with PBG. And really, it feels like Bali doesn't help you to do things right, because we were waiting for more than 7 months. 7 months. And if you take into account that if you go without it, you can start building immediately. That's why a lot of people don't do the PBG, I think. But we want to, do things right, and we're learning also on how to make the process faster from our side. But yeah, it's a permits is it's a quite interesting topic here in Bali.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. We always have the problem with the legal part because nobody totally understands how
Yeah.
how it's work. But the good news that every year is coming better and better, and now the process it's more clear. And now a lot of developer, also you started build just after PBG.
Yeah.
So it's less risk for our investor, and we're very happy that it's happened. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we started before government. Kudos to government, because they started being a little bit more strict and not let people do whatever they want. And now that's why everyone wants for PBG. But just to make a distinction, we started the PBG, like working with PBG projects before this crazy crackdown that happened from the government. Why I say this, we really try to see rationally. We don't want to follow what everyone else does. Just because the other people do it doesn't mean it's right, right? And only time will show. We try to do bulletproof investments for our clients, and it's good to hear that you guys also work with other developers that also focus on this.
have you ever have any local resistance during your construction process?
Yes, many.
Tell me something.
I would say I would say it is friction rather than resistance. It's harder just to do business in Bali. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah, I know.
It's definitely different, and it's harder in what sense? Although you don't have the very strict regulations and processes you face in other places, here it's more easy to start the process, but you have to take into account things that you wouldn't take otherwise. And a lot of them are cultural. So, for example, we could not start this project. We're here now, Sunrise Bliss. We could not start this project before the landlord can make a certain ceremony.
I know that.
Yeah, that
Ceremony is the most important part.
it is, and you have to respect it, and you have to be aware of it. There's no way to go around it. And the priest or the spiritual person said it has to happen then, and that was like 2 months away, right? So the previous buyer from me, because there was another guy that booked the land, did not want to wait. He brought the lawyer, said, "I pay, I'll build." And the Balinese people are deeply spiritual and religious, and they said, "No, money doesn't go over our culture." And they said, "Okay, don't buy the thing." And I'm happy that this happened because I got this land. But yeah, we had to wait. We had to go with their own rhythm. There's Indonesia is majority Muslim and Bali is Hindu, so Bali has both holidays, so you have to deal with Ramadan for the workers at least 1 month a year. Then you have all the Balinese ceremonies. So I wouldn't say resistance, but there is some things you cannot push the time. Like it has to happen this way, right? So this was a cultural, difference that a lot of boulets, the Westerners, the outsiders will see and don't understand.
Yeah. So the main things in Bali, you have to accept all of the
Yes,
things and
yes.
be relaxing here.
Yeah. Bali is known to foreigners for the surf culture, and one big part of the surf culture is like if a wave is coming, you can't stop it. If you can either stay there and be uncomfortable or try to go with the wave, right? So it's the same in Bali, exactly. So you have to accept things. Of course, you need to optimize here and there, but some things you just need to accept and go with it. If you can't let go and you want to impose your own way of doing things because you've been successful in another country building and then you come here, it's not going to work.
Tell me more about the land, the leasehold here, for example, in this project.
So what I try to do, I try to go a little bit over. So I usually take 30 years, like I did here, because then you have 1 year for building,
Yep.
and then you have a few years for our clients to collect money from renting, and then can still sell it at 25 years if they don't want. So I think it just gives more options, and that's the same with most of my projects. Apart from the Ocean Bliss, which is like an apartment building by Berava Beach, in which we have the land as HGB. So this is we have the right for the land to extend it up to 80 years. So I can make commitments for more than 30 years in this land without having to depend on the landlord. So we are basically the landlord.
So you just told about the delivery time. That's normally 1 year for your project, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's a normal situation that the developer
Yeah.
have a delay on the construction time, and what in this case, because for example in this year we have a very heavy rain season, how is about the delivery time on this, and do you have any penalty for the investor?
Yes, I have faced delays. I have faced situations in which I had to change workers or contractors sometimes. So these are part of the game. That's why what we can do, you cannot eliminate, you cannot control 100% what will happen. As you mentioned, can be because of very heavy rainy season and you have to delay pouring the cement and all that stuff. Can be because contractors leave and don't come back. This happens also, or their workers do because the contractor doesn't pay them. So many things. So what we're trying to do is manage expectations from our clients. And I mean, in theory, you can build in 9 months, but it will never happen. So we always say it's 12, but plus 1 month is lost for Ramadan, 13, plus 1 month for anything else. We always say in our contracts around 14 months. We want to be upfront. It's better if we finish earlier, and that's what we strive for, but we need to manage expectations that this might happen. Beyond the 14 months, we take responsibility and we say, okay, if we are late, I understand that a lot of people do this for investment, so we give them a delay, we have a delay clause in which we have to pay basically a monthly fee to kind of cover their the economic opportunity, so the lost opportunity they have for income. This is how we handle it. In the case of Ocean Bliss, which we have HGB title, which means we own the land and we can be more flexible on the leasehold, we will only give the leasehold at the end of construction. So if the investor buys 30 years, it's 30 years only from when we finish, so they don't lose anything basically, right? So that's another way to help investors be more comfortable with the uncertainties of Bali.
How many units on the Bali Ocean?
The Ocean Bliss,
Sorry, Ocean Bliss.
it's 12. It's a small boutique
Right.
apartment. It's very close to the beach, 200 meters from the beach, walking distance to Atlas Club, Finns Club, and all the stuff. And yeah, so now it's left, I think, one apartment. Yeah, we have started the construction already a couple of months now. Yeah, it's one of the projects we are pretty proud of.
It's still 1 year and 1.5 year delivery time. It's very good because now the project is 3 years can
Yeah.
be, because I understand it's a big, and half year we need to get a PBG, so that's why it's more
Yeah.
and more. But still, we have it always delay.
Yeah.
And the leaseholds, not like in your project, and leasehold it's less and less and
Yeah.
less for investor, and
Correct.
it's for us also it's not a good situation.
Yeah, but that's why we try. When it's leasehold, we always have a clause that if we go beyond a certain amount of time, we pay, right? So in that case, there is a peace of mind that even if the project is delayed, they still earn money after a certain point.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the materials. Tell me, please, do you import or rely on the local materials, and why?
So this is a very interesting question. A lot of people are interested to hear about this. We have the option to import material, but we are focusing on what's available in this market. I'll tell you why. The quality per se, so if I take a granite from around the area or a granite from Italy, they're not much different, but the price is huge for importing the other one. So if the client wants, no problem, we can import whatever they want, but we recommend to make sure that we use material from the region that are equally good quality. For example, a material that I really like that comes from the region is Palimanan stone. It's a very nice stone. It's like feels very earthy and has this Balinese kind of natural vibe to it. So why not use this and you have to import something else? Again, if they have like a certain theme in their mind and they want to do Italy theme or whatever, fine, we will help. But otherwise, we just ask people to focus on what's available here to keep the costs to a reasonable extent. And also the craftsmanship in general. So, for example, if we go back to the quality of the construction material, it doesn't matter if the steel, the rebars are coming from this place or that place. You just want to make sure that they have the certification, they're like the right, alloy or whatever. For the cement, the same. There's like locally produced cement, and that's perfectly fine. What's more important is the mixing. You have to verify the mixing because cement you have to mix with gravel and water. It usually happens on the spot, and maybe it's not happening optimal. So what you need to do, and what I do in my projects, after a lot of experience, right? We do test some test cubes to make sure that the strength of the concrete is 250 megapascal or whatever is the requirement for that building. That's more important whether than importing cement from another place. So I care more about the result, right? So rather than just overpaying for something that has the same exactly thing. So I go to more technical stuff, but my point is not that much about material. It's more about making sure that the developer you choose has the right supervisors in place to make sure that things are done the right way. This is the most important for me.
Do you have any guarantee for the investors to the construction, to the finishing?
Yeah, so we have what we have on paper, which I will tell you in a few seconds. But what is most important for me is that whoever buys from me is happy with what they got. So even if it goes beyond, and I have this case, right? So in one villa, some installation, some pipes was not optimal. So we had some leaking. It was after the warranty period. I'm still gonna fix it because I want this person to, feel nice when they buy from me. They know that things are taken care of. Even if there was some problem, if it's my really fault, I'll fix it. So this is my mentality because we are a small company and it's easy to have personal communication with each buyer. I think that's a benefit choosing a smaller developer in this case.
How do you deal with the molds, with the humidity?
Yeah, mold is, I feel like a constant student when it comes to mold. We have, we take this into account at the design phase. So what I do is I'm building higher, so that there's no groundwater as much as possible. A lot of the times the water, because it's a lot of rice fields around and all that stuff, comes from the ground, and the walls, suck the water, and you have mold. For this, one good remedy is to do very good waterproofing at the foundation level and elevate the building in general just a little bit so that you don't have like on floods all this water. Then the type of material you use, so we use a special brick, it's a white brick, is if you see it, that has like is less porous than the standard one, which is the Bataco, so has less absorbing capacity for water. Then we make sure we use all these branded waterproofing paints also.
Oh, it will be my next question about the manage. So you build and you manage by yourself, right?
Correct, and that was not always the case. I wanted to focus on doing one thing right, so building, and let other people rent. But I learned that that's not optimal because people buy from me as an investment usually, right? So how can I make sure that what they buy from me then performs well? Because when I tell them that, you know what, you can get an ROI of X%, then I have no control on who is managing it and what they're doing with this property. So I was very much involved renting out my own villas and my wife's villas. So I do have an understanding. I was working very closely with a partner we had. But last summer we decided that we need to formally also start becoming a rental company. We have built a very big team since then, and we're managing our own villas. There's a lot of benefits for us. First of all, I have to say, we don't do this for the money. It's a complimentary service. Like if you buy from me villa, I just want to have full control on how much money you can make from this villa. So it's not about us making money. We make money from selling villas, but this is more of a service to make sure that you guys can make the clients can make, good money out of this villa.
Have you already have the finished project, and can you tell us about the ROI for this project now?
Yeah, so this is I think two topics: what I have finished, and then about the ROI of the island. So we're focusing around Canggu. This is our, what we really know to build well, and we have finished projects in Berawa, in Tubac Bayou, in central Canggu area, and this is our focus so far. About the ROI, it's because we do the management, right? So no marketing or saying whatever people want to hear. The real rates as of now, which is June 2025, is approximately 10 to 12% for villas. And that's taking into account taxes, expenses, and all that stuff, which is still very good if you look around the world, basically, of investments. But it's not the 15 and 18% that used to be 5 years ago. That's for sure. And that's not something that concerns me. It's normal because the market becomes more mature now. It used to be, completely virgin market a few years ago, and of course it was a steep growth with supply and everything. Now it's more mature market, and that's why we have seen the return on investment coming slightly down. For me, what is important and what I consider a success is not to say to people 20% and 18%.
Because it's not true.
Yeah, but I see that a lot of developers, they're still playing this game, right? I saw some analysis that I have a business education, so I can follow at least what they're trying to say. But I see that someone that doesn't know about financial investments and all that stuff can so easily be convinced by this complicated analysis that they make. It's not complicated at all. They just make it complicated and say, over 3 years, 50% and stuff because this or that. And the assumptions, if you really drill down, the assumptions are like completely nonsense. I don't play this game. I'm not here to tell you this and that, but we have proof to show you that we can bring a very decent 10 to 12% after taxes, costs and stuff from a single villa, which is really remarkable, I would say. And my focus and how I call it success is whatever the average is of return on investment. So if you think of a bell curve, the distribution of the returns, if let's say the average today is 10 or 9, I want to be on the better side, so be more than 10 or 9. That's success for me, because the average return will vary. It used to be 18, became 15, now with more restrictions can go maybe again up because there's going to be less supply. But my success is not like just bring a number. What we're trying to do is to make sure that we're at least average or above when it comes to returns.
Yeah, I really respect your way, and it's very important because we never tell for our investor more than 15%, just 10, 12, it's still very good, and this is the bigger when in the other world, so it's still interesting, but not, of course, not the 20%, it's a fairy tale actually. Let's talk more about the land and legality here.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So what's your process for securing land for development or sale?
Yeah, this is, I would say, one of the most important elements of developing projects, securing the right land. And we have built a mechanism to try to identify lands before they go really out in the market, because then it's too late, it's too expensive, you can't really do much about it. So what we try to do is to go through the landowners themselves. We're trying to find things that are priced fairly, and then we pass the savings to our clients. If you see most of our buildings, most of our villas or apartments are very fairly priced, because this is our philosophy also. We're not here to just grab some cash overnight. We just want to build a name and really, truly offer good deals for our investors, for clients and investors to really make money. And in order to do this, we need to be smart about how we're going about buying the land, about our design, about everything to make it a good deal. So back to the land, our focus is finding fairly priced lands and then develop them.
Okay, and can we talk more about leasehold for our viewers? Because for a lot of people, this leasehold, it's they don't understand it. Normally, that they buy the property, they think that it's own. But here in Bali, we can't be owner of the land.
Correct.
Can you tell your opinion about it and why it's still good and why it's a good investment?
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on what an investor wants. But I've been through this process myself, right? I come from a place where I come from Greece, in Europe. Basically, you buy something, it's yours forever, right? But then in order to acquire any asset in these countries, you need to pay quite a lot of money up front, and which makes the return on investment very small. So yes, if you want to buy something and make sure that 20, 30 years down the road you can resell it for a lot of money, or your kids want to have it, fine, all right? But if you want something that will help you get a cash flow fast and with a big ROI and not big initial investment, then a leasehold works best. What is leasehold? Basically, instead of owning the land, you rent the land for a big period of time, like 25, 30 years. And what's the benefit here? I mean, at the beginning, I have the mental block. No, because in my country, it's mine, right? But you typically buy for 150,000 USD, you can buy a 2-bedroom like this one, 2-bedroom with a pool villa. You can't buy that in your home for this amount of money. So the barrier to enter this kind of investments is, I think I would say, 3 to 4 times lower than in most people's countries. And then the return on investment is so high. So within 5, 6, 7 years maximum, you get your money back, and then it's basically passive income, right? So that's what convinced me. Like, initially, psychologically, you're not feeling well with the fact that it's not yours. But then if you run the numbers, it's actually a very good case.
How can a buyer verify that the land is truly legal?
This is a big one for people that have never lived here, have never bought something here, they have never acquired land or rented land. I very strongly recommend, first of all, to don't fall for the very kind local Balinese person they know.
Sure.
I mean, they have all the good intentions, but it's best if they partner with someone who knows what they're doing, like yourself, guys, like a verified developer, and always proceed to any transaction with a lawyer. A lawyer has to review, do some due diligence, and give you an independent opinion that this land is okay. I've heard so many stories about. I had a friend, she's telling me, I found this land is amazing, the price is amazing, zoning is amazing. I said, it's too good to be true. Can you send me some information? She sent me the location. We went through, there's a website you can check the zoning.
Yeah.
And these guys were taking a screenshot of a different lot, which was nearby, and were telling her, oh, look, it's zoning, you can actually build. But hers was not. And she was that close to sign. And so many cases in which they say, don't worry, I have an insider. Oh, that's the favorite thing of most Balinese here. I have an insider, I have an insider. And you go and then they tell them, okay, it's green zone, which you cannot build, but I have the insider and we will turn it to yellow. It's a great opportunity. And then they invest their money and they cannot change it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's as simple as it sounds. When you hear don't worry, worry. If they say don't worry, I have an insider, means they want your money. It's good intentions. A lot of the times I do believe, because indeed a lot of things, based on my observation, a lot of things here in Bali work this way. You know someone, maybe things happen faster and stuff, but you can't do wonders. You can't just change the whole legal system because you know someone, right? So when you hear don't worry, when you hear I have an insider, talk to a lawyer, get a third party, opinion, talk to professionals with documented experience in Bali, because there's a lot of also agents that just come and say, I have 10 years of experience. Where? In Russia, in Germany. That's not the same here, right? So
Yeah.
you want people that have experience here. For developers, the same. I respect a lot of developers that they come with a lot of credentials, building in all these countries that building is so regulated you cannot do wrong. And then they come here and they cannot finish a project, right? So make sure you partner with the right people, do some research, and involve a lawyer from the beginning.
Yeah. We also suggest our clients to do the owner-lawyer check, and of course, from our side, we have a partnership with the lawyer agency, and first of all, we check the developer before we start to offer the project. And of course, during the deal, we check everything, all documents and the land. So it's a very, very important thing. Okay, let's talk about who is actually building your villa. Are your builds done in-house or outsourced to constructor?
This is a good question that I really want to clarify. Most of the foreigners that have a development company, they're actually construction management service providers. You cannot be a developer yourself in the full sense of being a contractor. So you always have someone, third party, building for you. Now, what makes a difference is, have you identified the right people that work for you? This is the question. But just to clarify, all the non-Indonesians building here, they're not contractors themselves. They're just managing the construction process. Obviously, I can't be every second on the project, and how I'm solving this problem is, as I said, finding the right people after results, like I see what they do and I keep them, and at the same time having my own supervisors. A lot of developers don't know that this is the case. They come with some money in Europe, they say, okay, I'll invest there and I'll make a good contract with some contractor, then I'll have the villa. No. There's a lot of work. There's so many on-site visits I'm doing. Every week I'm here to all projects, otherwise nothing will get done the right way. just because there's not a lot of expertise with the local workers, unfortunately. In my case, I have a head project manager which has 20 years of experience delivering hotels, apartments, villas all over Indonesia. So he's like really educated at the university level. He has a project management certification from the government. He knows what he's doing. And below this person, I have also other, let's say, other supervisors for each project to supervise my contractor. So this increases my costs, but in the long run, reduces my costs because I don't have to redo too many times things. Yeah, it's all this came with experience. No one can prepare you of how the things work here, because especially if you come outside of Indonesia, you say, okay, I make a contract, he's a contractor. Most of the contractors don't even have the right qualifications from the government.
Okay, so you know what is some of our investors, they think about, okay, we just come to Bali, find the land, buy the land, after find the constructor, pay, come back to our country and come back.
Never finish. Yeah.
and they think that they save the money this way, but it's not working like this.
But that's a reality. People think that things work like back in home, like you make a contract and then you'll find it finished. No, like what? And it's not necessarily from out of bad intentions. It's just that, as I said, people that work in construction here are not trained. They don't understand. They don't have the same understanding of what finished looks like. They don't understand what, what's the perfection level that is required for. When you say I'm finishing a villa, it has to be straight wall. Yeah, it's kind of straight. No, that's not enough, right? So there's a very different expectations we have. Like according to the people who undertake to make the construction, the local contractors, they did everything right. There's a big gap on expectations or on delivery, and yeah, so a lot of the times ends up costing way more money to build it yourself than having actually a developer who is here on the spot with trained people and a lot of experience of what can go wrong to help you actually save money.
Maybe can you give some funny example what's happened with your project? I mean, maybe when you tell to do something and you came to check and understand that it's completely different. Do you remember something? A lot of things.
A lot.
Not just few, just for understanding what can happen.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I feel is the worst, because it's not just like not nice, it can be not safe. And that's very important for people to know when they just take a random local contractor to build. For some villa, my contractor found the cheapest MEP guy, so the mechanical, electric, plumbing, to do installation of bathroom. Mm-hmm. So, because they don't understand structural engineering and all that stuff, it's like people, as I said, they just learn on the job and they don't learn also the right way because of what's happening here. So they try to make the toilet, and the pipe of the toilet had to go to the network that we have outside of the building. He felt the easiest way to do it is to cut the iron from the column to pass the tube, not thinking that if you cut the iron, then the structural integrity of the building is not there anymore. When I realized, like, one, it cost me a lot of money because obviously we had to remediate the column and stuff. This is really important, right? And second, I was completely like I could not fit it in my head. Like someone with experience, that's his job, installing these pipes and stuff in constructions, and it was cutting through structural elements. This is crazy. And I saw the same thing with wanting to connect electricity cables. Again, we're cutting through columns. This is like, if an engineer sees that, like he's gonna have a heart attack, right? But here things are fine. And if I hadn't seen it myself, I wouldn't know, right? So back to the guys who buy remotely, they pay the local contractor to save money. Well, I hope in 5 years the building is still there, right? Because That's the risks you run. And it's a serious one. It's a serious one. So if I had, what goes over money for me is safety. If I see something wrong, I'd rather make an extra column to make sure that everything is going to be fine, and make less money than having this burden on my shoulders, right? To create something that is not safe. Safety is not a joke, right? So it is fun in a way when you see people doing these things, but it is very serious, right? It can be really serious.
Sure. And the same situation can be with the furniture. For example,
Oh, yeah.
it's I order some furniture for my house and I have all the size, but they send me
Completely different.
10 centimeters difference. So
Yeah.
how?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm used to it because we always do furnished villas. I had so many suppliers and so many problems and had to take it back. So what we do now, I work with people I have worked before, not because they're not problems, because I know what the problems will be. So it's easier for me to spot it and tell them immediately. But also we start ordering way earlier than we think, because a lot of the times we'll come and we'll say, no, take it back, we asked for something else. So that's how things work.
Yeah, that's why it's very important your experience here, because when you just start, you can imagine that it can
you cannot,
happen. That's so yeah. Now
And even now, if someone is watching this, they will say, no way, because I'm not stupid, right? That's what they think.
Yeah.
But it's not about being stupid or smart. It's just like, it's very different, the understanding we have versus the Indonesian culture. It's not good or bad, it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, even if they say, I'll do this tomorrow might mean also 1 week or 1 month or whatever.
Do you know why?
Because the same word, right?
Because
yes.
they don't have the tomorrow.
Yes.
You
right?
don't have tomorrow in
I'm
Indonesia.
asking the camera guys, right? Besok. Besok is tomorrow, but can also be. Yeah, this is in the culture,
now I
right? So
understand it.
that's things. It's not like a bad thing, but it's a different, and you need to know about this. That when they say, it's tomorrow, might also be in 1 week. So
Yeah, that's why that's also about the delivery time. So you always need to change something, because tomorrow it's not tomorrow, and all of these things.
Yeah, that's why, as I think I mentioned earlier, we don't go below 14 months in our contracts. Although in theory you can make in 9-10 months, it's reasonable, but not in Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the passive income. So, in our experience, more than 80% of our clients, they have a deal remotely. It's a first point. So, what do you think about the remotely purchase here in Bali?
Yeah. So, although there are a lot of risks that things can not go well, but at the same time, there's a very high chance of big success if you partner with the right people. So if you try to do everything on your own, you don't know anything about Indonesia, you don't know anything about Bali, it's rather risky. That things will go wrong. You will not get your building delivered. You're not going to get it delivered how you want. It's not going to be run effectively, efficiently, and profitably. But I definitely know it's possible because, for example, we have a couple of clients. They've never been in Bali. They did everything up front, like with power of attorney and stuff. They just wanted to invest money somewhere, and we helped them build and then to run their villas, and they just receive every month, their profits. So it is possible, but you need to make sure you engage with the right people. Who are the right people? People that have experience. They're out there. They're not like some dodgy person that no one knows about. They are verified in what they're doing. So again, it goes back to doing some serious research. If you do the research, you see that these people have done this before, like a developer or the real estate agency can point you towards the right direction. Yes, it's very much possible. And the whole idea of passive income, that's what we try to do. So when I started building here, I wanted to create a deal that, and make it as frictionless as possible. So people just give money and then just receive money. And that's why we also have started the management company at the same time. So they come to us, we're one-stop shop. Here's my money. I want in 1 year the money back, right? Or maybe if it's a finished villa, I want immediately every month to get my profit. So it is possible. And it's as close to passive income as possible, especially if the management company does the job right. But always needs to be a lot of research before to make sure you engage with the right people.
Yeah, yeah. So, how many developers are in Bali now? How many do you know?
I don't know, but I can assume it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot because it goes back to it seems easy to do this job on paper because it's affordable, because regulations make it easy. It's easy to make a PTPMA company here and start. Everything seems easy, but when you are to actually deliver the villa, this is where the difficulty comes up. So, but that's a good thing because there's a lot of people that joined the market, I think, the last few years, but not a lot of them want to go through this pain for the next years. So yeah, we're holding on, and we want to become one of the staple names when it comes to villas in Bali. We know that nothing is easy. We're putting a lot of work, a lot of personal effort from each individual of my company. The people who work for me are really part of the team, and they have commitment and ownership on what they do. Otherwise, you cannot be a company that is successful in the long run here.
I think that's the one of the mistake when the people try to understand the market by themselves. Of course, they need to do some research, but we have a lot of developer here, and if the client go to developer directly, of course, all developers tell that we are the best, our project the best, and all of this thing. And of course, you need the third party who can give you the real information about what's really happened here, because you know what's happened on the market, and of course the picture and renders always very good, but what happened in the real life here, just so need to be very careful with this. But it's still possible to, because it's an investment, right? And we need to be focused on the numbers, not on the feelings like I like it or I don't like it, I won't leave it. So we need to do analysis with the location, with the developer quality, with the management company, all of this stuff. I spent half a year to understand the markets. Half a year. Every day I work, and just after half a year I understand how it works. So yeah, it's a biggest mistake to try to do it by yourself. I mean, totally.
No, I get it, and that's why we partner with you guys, because we learn also from you, right? You know what the customers want, but also we want to be transparent to make sure that, you know, if something is not right, you're going to tell us, or we're not going to get clients from you, right? That's our philosophy. We want to evolve with every project, be better than the previous one, be better at how we conduct business, be better at what we do. And that's only possible if we're open to you guys, because you talk with so many developers, you talk with so many clients. But yes, if I think about a client now that's looking, and all developers, as you said, they pay a lot of money to make beautiful renders. Can you bring it to life, right? Because it's easy, you know, if you see the render, to fall in love and say, I'm sure it will happen, like he's a developer. You know. No, you need to see how they delivered before, right? So how does it look in the renders and how it looks in reality? And I was accused at the beginning, I was not in favor of fancy renders at the beginning, because I wanted to make a point that I sell real villas, I'm not selling pictures.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes I have the request from our clients, like, I saw on the Instagram a villa for a 90,000 USD, 2 bedrooms, ocean view in blah blah.
Oh yeah, go and buy this. Good luck.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
a lot of offers everywhere, but a lot of scam actually. Yeah.
A lot.
So let's talk about the red flags.
Yeah, so definitely one is the track record. What has this person built before? Because as I said, it's relatively easy to get a nice architect and say, do the best render. I'll tell you first of all some of the biggest mistakes I've seen in beautiful renders. Whoever does these renders usually is not from Indonesia. They're sitting somewhere in Europe or whatever, or maybe anywhere else. And they use material you can't find in Bali. Or they don't work in Bali. They're not suitable for the climate in Bali. But it looks really nice. And then when the developer has to actually deliver, they find, they have to convince the client, and the client has to be convinced to downgrade in materials or choose different material because of this. So, track record. Check, has this developer delivered before? How does the real unit looks like? How does this unit do or perform in rental, right? This is what at the end of the day matters, especially for those who do this as an investment. That's definitely one. Second, I've seen a lot of guys that developers from outside of Indonesia, they might be doing in Europe or Russia or whatever. They say we're the best, and buy from us. Don't buy from the small guys. This is also a red flag for me because no matter what you know outside of Indonesia, it doesn't apply here.
Yes.
Like rules are so different. How things work with permits, with material, with project management, everything is different here. Like even if they're the biggest company in the world but have never built here, or have only one small villa and then now they want to make a huge apartment building. No, don't. It's a red flag. No experience, but outside of Indonesia, or experience in Indonesia, but not with international clients.
Totally agree with you. And one more thing, I guess, about the very high ROI, like 20-25% that the developer or management company promises to the projects. So
I explained before, but I see a lot of effort from the developers to make their analysis look sophisticated and produce these unrealistic numbers. But I urge anyone who is out there and looking to buy in Bali, go through these assumptions. Like, go through the model, understand what they're talking about, and very easily then you will see that the assumptions they make on their models are completely unrealistic. I'll give you an example. I was looking for some other developers' model, and they had somehow they start the first year with occupancy rates that are in par with what Bali offers, like around 70%, and then they had every year the occupancy was increasing by 5%. How? Why? Like, tell me why you think this is going to be the case, right? Then also, an unrealistic increase in money, in revenue per unit. How do you know this? Like, I see the opposite. I see more villas there, so therefore the prices go down. So people just don't look at one number. Really challenge these guys. Challenge the developers. We're not there to do the same. I have business education, but it's not my job to just say fancy words to people and worry them. Ask for track record again. Like, we have the statements of the villas we built and managed, and I can tell you what are the real ROIs, which are still remarkable, but not the 15 and 20. Don't believe these things. Like, if the decision-making process is, like, you find 2-3 projects, but you say, oh, this one offers 20%. That's not enough. It's like, a wishful thinking. It's not real, right? So.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, it's very bad for the whole market because for now we have a lot of customer who has an expectation about 20%, and now they have 10. And the reviews was the Balinese market is bad. But 10% it's still okay.
I'm sorry, but these are people not well informed.
Yeah.
You can't make an investment just by believing whatever someone tells you.
Yeah.
Where have you seen this 20%? You should make some research and see that actually people bring this. And this, again, it could have been the case 7 years ago, maybe,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
20%.
yeah.
Now the market is more mature, which is not bad because there are more good things coming with a more mature market. It's attracting more people now because you have all the restaurants, all this stuff, and more options for accommodation. But yeah, the ROI is more reasonable now. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I have a lot of cases. Then our customer just check the presentation and they see the ROI. And for example, they have a magic ROI like a 20%, and we have a normal ROI like 10%. And for example, I recommend take this project because it's more
Better.
realistic
Yeah.
and better location. I like this developer, all of this stuff. But they said, but here it's the ROI. It's
go.
just a numbers,
Yeah.
it's just a theory. So we don't, we can't. But yes, it's happened. So
Yeah.
people just have a look these numbers and they give the decision on this stuff. But it's not the right way.
As
to
you said,
choose
it's
the-
very bad for Bali.
Yeah.
Because we had internal conflict in the company whether we should also say what the other market says. It's so hard because if everyone says 17, 20, but we know it's like closer to 12, right? If you do a good job, it's probably 12 right now. It's really hard because we do an honest job and then someone else comes with a magic number and then makes everyone else look bad. And we know that when anyone buys this fake, let's say, this unrealistic project with the unrealistic expectations project, then they will be disappointed, right? And it's not fair because still 10, 12 is very good investment, but you need to go through the lines. Don't just stay on the ROI. Say, where did this come from? Because our ROI comes from the statements we have. Theirs ROI comes from some crazy assumptions that occupancy rates will be 110%, and every year 10, 20% increases on revenue. Yeah, so they should. It's completely their, the investor's responsibility to go through the numbers actually.
What do you think about the future of the Balinese markets? What's happened? Because a lot of units, it's coming now, a lot of projects, a lot of everything. So,
yeah,
what's happened?
I'm still positive, very positive, and I'll tell you why. There was this huge boom, construction boom, a few years back that allowed a lot of people to think they can be a developer. And then after their first project, I'm pretty sure many of them changed their mind after they saw that it's not easy money. It's a lot of work. I do believe that over the next years, the market will become more professional. So it will only hold the people who actually do the job well, because now people can compare, right? If I don't know anything about development, it will show. And if I just wanted to go in with some money to get some easy money back, also market will see. So I'm positive in the sense that now that the market is more competitive, only the more professionals or the good professionals will stay. It's not more room. There's no room anymore for those that are not serious. So in that sense, I think it's positive.
Yeah. So and still good opportunity for earn the money for investor.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. As I said, it's becoming more mature, the rental market, but still very good. So it's not the crazy numbers that you used to have 5 years ago, maybe, but now it's still very decent.
But 5
numbers.
years ago, it was a high risk and it's a wild market. So
Correct,
we completely don't understand nothing here. So now it's more legal process and the quality is much, much better every year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is what competition brings, right? In order for me to sell now every project, I have to be better than my previous one. And yeah, like as you said, it was indeed high risk 5 years ago. There were so many projects that were abandoned because of a lot of people said, okay, I'll go with a local contractor, I know everything, and a lot of abandoned projects. So yeah.
okay, so today we talk a lot about the developers. And let's talk a little bit about the agents, because I think you have a lot of partnership with the agent, and what is your experience and how it's important to choose the right agency and the right agent?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely important, and I think it's underrated how important it is to have a good developer, but also the right people to promote the projects. You can't have one without the other. The value chain of a villa is like you find the land, you build, you deliver, then someone is buying. And here's where the agent has a tremendous help and responsibility to make sure that the developers they're going to promote are going to do their job, and that the investment that their clients are going into are good, right? So for me, agents are very important partners to me because I'm a developer and I want to focus in developing. I don't want to do sales, I don't want to do marketing. This is what you guys do, right? So in order for me to do well my job, I want to be focused on developing good villas. At the same time, how do I do this? I need to have contact with serious partners to tell me what the market wants, right? I don't want to just build whatever I want. I want to follow what the market wants, what the expectations of the customers are. And the only way to get this is by having a very close collaboration with serious partners like yourselves, guys. For so many years already working, you know the market, you have very good professionals in your team, that you're vetting the developers, you're educating the people, you're going to say the right thing, you're not going to say 20% ROI, you'll say this is not going to happen, right? These are the agents we want. We want agents that can educate and can help us build, better and better buildings, better and better projects for the future.
Actually, it's very easier to sell something on the Balinese market, but for example, we're not focused only for sale because it's about the investment, and we want our clients to get the money, get the income. So of course for us it's very important, if we sell something, we need to understand how we can resell it, for example, if the clients need to do it. And of course it's also our responsibility. I don't know too much agency who can do it. So normally they just sell and forget and change the number, finish the work. But for now we have more than 700 deals already, and we have real cases for the resale, and it's actually really important to find a good partner with the agency, as you said before, because a lot of offers, a lot of developers, and a lot of things happened here in Bali, and we need to completely understand what's happened, what you can buy, and if you need it, how you can later sell it.
Yeah,
it's also
exit
important.
Point. I think it's an excellent point because, as you said, most of the people, unfortunately, in Bali focus on the quick wins. Like, how do I sell it now, forget about it later, right? But I think it's very important to give the whole, have the big overview of what's going on. People come for an investment here. And if you can cater for them to exit their investment by reselling and stuff, this shows that you're focusing on the right projects that are good and will bring money so you can resell them. And you care about your clients, right?
Yeah, and let's continue this topic about the resale, because some people still coming to ask and they won't just, for example, give the 25% from the property, I mean the down payment, and after resell it just during the construction. So what do you think about this thing? Is it work in Bali, and is it possible actually to resell?
Yeah, so this is happening, and I think it just makes more sense if you go very, very early on a project. If there are some seasoned investors, we have also some that they come very early. Maybe it's the first investor. which has some risk because it might take longer until all permits are in place and stuff. But then I'm in position to indeed give very good price, and then yes, it makes sense for them. So it's not going to work for everyone. Like I just bought something that it's finishing in a few months, and now I'm going to sell it for 50,000, 60,000 more or whatever. But it definitely happens on a case by case, right? So you need to see the project and the timeline of the project, the price that is offered. But we're open usually to partners that coming either from agencies or from our circle to almost co-develop some, do it early, so they can come in with very low cost, let's say, and then have the opportunity to resell before the construction is over at a very good return.
Yeah, so it can be,
Can be
but it's
under
not necessary.
circumstances.
So
yeah.
the most popular is when you get your income from the rent, because the Balinese market is more about the rent, because
yes.
we don't have here the tools for resale. Yeah. So it's,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So as I said, it's under certain circumstances. Like you have to have big money, be very early, know the right, that's the right project and stuff. But other than that, I'll tell you, like practically it's difficult sometimes, because if you want to resell during construction, it's a big project and there's more unsold units. Probably they will buy first those from the developer, and only then they will buy yours, right? So unless the project is completely sold out. But yeah, there are a lot of offers right now, a lot of options for the same money. Someone might go for an off plans for a little earlier. So yeah, the focus for now has been the rental. So it's very good to hear that you guys are focusing also on helping people on how to exit investments here in Bali and resell if they need, because it's not it's not happening there's not a lot of people to support this process.
yes, and it's actually difficult to do it. I hear the lot that client buy with our other agency, other agent, and we resell it after 2 months. We for sure, and we will do it, and after nothing happens.
Yeah.
So in our company, we focus just in our investor. We don't take our investor who want to resell with us, because we have our own resell. And I see that it's difficult for them, because they can't. And so the agency is very small, and they can't to resell it. And for our customer, we also tell the truth again, that it's not a very good strategy to buy something for the resale. It's like maybe Dubai a few years ago, when it's a crazy market, then you can buy and resell and buy and resell. But here it's not like this, so it's
I mean,
long-term investment more.
Exactly. So for if someone asks me, like a family member, like, someone really close to me, I'll tell them, you have to be ready to go either way. You buy, but you should be prepared to be happy to keep it and have the passive income. And you should also be happy if the opportunity comes to resell it. If you're open, that's fine. But if you come very fixed that I want to buy to resell, it's possible, but under certain circumstances. It's not like any property and at any time.
Okay, the final question. What would you never compromise on?
I want this company to be my personal legacy, basically. I want to make sure I do everything the right way, and I wouldn't compromise on safety no matter what. I've seen, unfortunately, a lot of cases from people that we try to save in small little things that might have a big impact either in the user experience or even worse on safety. I would never do that. I'd rather not make money, but make sure that the building is safe and everything. That's like no discussion on safety. And then the second is the local culture, because as I mentioned, the local Balinese culture is very rich and very deeply rooted in everything they do, from the ceremonies and everything. As I said, I had to, and I was okay to lose months of my leasehold to wait until it's the right time for the ceremony because it had to align with some stars and stuff. And I get
see
it.
you have, yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm joining the culture. So this is also something that I wouldn't compromise on. I do business here. I respect the local community. I'm grateful I have the opportunity to do business here. So that's another point.
Great. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting interview today. We are very glad that you are our partner. So
Likewise. Thank you so much.
So, where can our viewers find more information about your company?
Yeah, so we have a website, balibliss.properties. We have Instagram, both for the international audience in English, Bali Bliss Properties, but also for the Russian-speaking guys, baliblissproperties.ru, right? And yeah, they can learn a lot also through you, right? They can contact
For
you.
sure.
You know everything about us. You've seen our projects. We have this collaboration. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about us and how we do business and what really drives our business forward.
Thank you what you are doing for the market.
Thank you.